Hello and welcome to the Paducah Human Rights Commission's show, Raising the Standard. My name is Gary Reese and we are sponsored today by the City of Paducah. I have a wonderful guest with us today by the name of Rick Nolan. He is here with Community Options Incorporated.
That's correct.
Glad to have you, Rick.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, just starting out about your organization and the mission of what you all do.
Sure. So Community Options is a national nonprofit. We are in 11 states and 33 different cities, always looking to expand into more states as the opportunity presents itself. But basically the mission, it comes down to this. We want to help folks with disabilities get housing and help them keep that housing, and we want to help them get and keep jobs. Okay. So we provide some other services, but the kind of the foundation that we were built on is the housing and the employment services. So we were started in 1989 by Robert Stack, who is our CEO, and he started because he just felt that folks that were in the institutions out there that way in New Jersey were not getting fair treatment from the government with regard to the timeliness of getting them out of the institution. Okay. So Robert got involved to do something about that, and he started the company. So from humble roots, we have now grown to a large national nonprofit. We help thousands of folks with disabilities on a nationwide basis.
Okay. Now, how long have you been in Paducah?
We've been here about we had an office that was originally in Benton. We opened that office in 2009, and then we moved to we moved to Paducah in 2012. Okay. So we've been in the area about 8 years.
Okay, and you have another office in Kentucky?
That's correct, in Bowling Green, okay. Yeah. And the Bowling Green office has been open a little bit longer. I'm not sure of the exact date on it, but it's been open a little bit longer than the Paducah office.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, what you all do then is basically help people that have disabilities that maybe need to get out of an institution that they can help move into and try to become at some point self-sufficient. Is that kind of right?
Self-sufficiency in all the services is always the goal. What we're trying to move towards is to get folks to learn the skills they need to do these different things by themselves, as far as being able to live on their own, paying bills, remembering to turn off the gas before they go to bed, those types of things. And in the employment sector, we're looking to help folks understand that you need to dress nicely for an interview, the things you need to do to keep and maintain a job. So yeah, the goal is always for self-sufficiency, and their goals are written that way.
Okay. What are some of the specific? I know you've got a meaningful day, and I know you've got a meaningful day program. Yeah. And I know that you have some other programs in regards to helping people with disabilities to move into an employment and things like that. Can you touch a little bit or go into a little bit more detail into some of those services that you all offer? Sure.
So the services that we offer here in Paducah are the residential services. Okay. So we staff homes 24 hours a day to assist individuals with acts of daily living and safety skills, whatever's necessary, really. So we have that, and I have 10 of those between Benton and Paducah. We have also the supported employment that we've touched on a little bit. That program I just started up in September. I have a wonderful director of employment named Andrea Hildebrandt, and she is really taken off with that program. And at this point, we are providing services to in the neighborhood of 12 individuals with disabilities, and several of those folks have jobs already. So part of what we do is we help the individual with the job search, and part of what that entails is going out and speaking with the potential employers to let them know kind of what services, what we do to help folks with disabilities get jobs, and kind of what tax breaks are available also for those employers. In addition, we go out and help the person with the interview. So we could sit down with a person with disabilities and do a mock interview to kind of guide them through what they might expect. And then once the person has a job, we do follow up with that job and talk with that individual as well as their supervisor on that job to make sure that things continue to go good. Not just from a skills perspective, but also from a social perspective, because every job has a bit of a social aspect, and we want to make sure that our individuals with disabilities are getting that piece of it as well.
Right. So you all are obviously much more than a housing provider, so to speak.
Correct. Yes, correct.
And you all stay with them pretty much from day one, I guess, to when you all can serve them as far as finding a house, even on through, as long as they're with you all.
Yes.
Okay.
The individuals in our state system always have a choice of which provider they'd like to choose, and as long as they're happy and stay with us, then we will stay with them through the course of their lives.
Okay.
We also do a service called case management out of the Paducah office.
Right.
And kind of what that service is it's an oversight of all the other services that are available in our system. So a case manager will help an individual decide what services are appropriate for them and help them get involved in those services.
Right. Okay. So how many just roughly how many do you all serve? I know you're part of a national organization, and I know the service area is big, but in terms of the number of individuals that you serve, can you give us some kind of an idea?
In case management here in Paducah, we serve 56.
Okay.
And on the residential side, we are at about 26.
Okay.
The homes that we support are 3-person homes. That's state regulation. We have 26 people across 10 homes currently. And those homes, like I said, they're everywhere from Benton down here through Paducah out into Lonoke.
Okay. So you said 3-person homes. Does that mean an occupancy per residence has to be 3?
It doesn't have to be 3, but 3 is the max. So there could be 2 individuals that live in a home. There could be 1. Okay. But 3 is the max by the state regulation. Okay. And what we do is we kind of staff that 24/7. So we have someone that does. We do it through 3 different shifts. And what we're expecting to touch on the day piece of this is we expect our staff that are working during the day to get our folks out and active into the community. So we're trying to teach our folks skills of how to interact in the community correctly, how to do things that you and I might not really think about, like how to pay, when you purchase something, and how to, collect the skills necessary to do those things. That's what we do during the day. That's what's called our day training. That can go on into the evening as well. The day training also consists of things like going out to eat and helping people with the social skills and the financial piece of those activities as well. Okay. And then we staff the house with an overnight as well who stays awake to make sure that everything is safe and as it should be in the home.
Okay, all right. So tell me roughly, I know you all are, your office is on 5th Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So most of your housing, is it in that general area, or is it kind of spread out?
It's spread out. Most of our homes are actually in Lonoke. Okay. We have 5 in Lonoke. Okay. We have 3 in Benton, and then 2 are kind of spread out around Paducah and other areas.
Are these new units, or is this something that you all would purchase and
we would just purchase them on the market. Okay. We have AJ Martin is our realtor. We deal with him exclusively. AJ has been a great friend to Community Options. He's also on our board of directors, our co-back. We just let AJ know when we're interested. AJ has a very good sense of the houses that we're looking for, because what we're looking for is fairly specific. We're looking for a ranch home, 3 bedrooms, and preferably 2 baths. That's the starting point. If we have that framework, we can work with what's around it. We're just generally looking for a dwelling without steps, too many steps, and something that has the 3 bedrooms so that we can have 3 individuals.
Right. Do you have any families? Is that something?
Yeah. So in a lot of these situations, the families do stay involved. What happens is an individual with disabilities, specifically here in Paducah, we deal with intellectual disabilities. Okay. So what used to be called mental retardation, that's kind of a term that's not used anymore. So we use the term intellectual disabilities. And folks with intellectual disabilities are kind of what we deal with here as far as the state funding streams go. So individuals with intellectual disabilities live at home, just like anyone else. And when they get to a certain point, their families decide that it's time for them to go out and have their own lives, try their own things. And that's kind of when we get involved. So we provide the housing at that point, and we have open, very good relationships with a number of the families of people that are placed in our homes, who still visit with their loved ones, pick them up, go out to eat, and usually the individuals will end up telling their family that they want to go home, and that doesn't mean back to the parents' home. It means to their own home, which is so empowering both for that individual and for that family. I mean, I've had families that have gotten very emotional by talking to me about how much it means to them that their loved one has a home that is actually their home away.
Do you have people that actually come into the residency there, or residency situation, or the home?
Sure.
And then at some point they decide they want to move on and do something else?
Yeah.
Is that,
a lot of times what happens is like someone will come into the system as kind of an emergency where they need placement right away, and we will help the state get through that situation. But the person's family may not be here in this area. So the case manager that's involved in the situation will try to make efforts to get that person back closer to their family. So if I were from Bowling Green and were placed in Paducah, at some point I may leave a Paducah placement and go back towards Bowling Green. And that does happen on occasion.
Are you all ever involved in any kind of fostering type situations?
Well, we do what we call adult foster care. So that is another option that's available to the individuals in the intellectual disability system. So these individuals that come into the system can choose that service. What that service looks like is it's actually just a person or a family who has decided that they want to open their home up to an individual with disabilities. And the individual with disabilities has a bedroom in their home. So it's much more like a family style setup, and in my experience, it's been very successful, both for both parties, really. And the individual that we place there tends to do very well and really expand and flower with regard to social skills and all types of things that weren't thought to be possible for those folks. It's really a good match, and I'm really trying to push that service here in Paducah.
And to do that, you all would have to obviously collaborate with some other agencies. Like, I can't remember what exactly the fostering agencies are in this area, but you would have to obviously work with closely.
We don't need to work with, the fostering agencies are more for children that are locally. This is just an option that's available to anyone that is within our intellectual disability system. And we don't just, blindly throw darts to pick a family out. There are plenty of background checks, and there are checks on top of checks to make sure that we are doing a proper placement and that this individual is going to be in a safe environment. So,
and obviously, for all the work you do, you're going to have some employees. So
yes, I do.
I'm assuming kind of tell me how that breaks down, if you don't mind here.
Yeah, so I have approximately 60 what we call direct care professionals, and those are folks that work directly with the individuals that are in service. You
said 60?
Yeah, approximately 60. They are our frontline staff. They are the most important piece of this puzzle. Without them, this doesn't work. But they are the ones that build quality relationships with our individuals, gain their trust, care about them, and take them out into the communities. They're the ones that these people turn to when something is wrong and when something is bothering them. And that's a very important relationship from my perspective to foster and kind of make sure that that is happening. So above them, I have 3 residential managers who kind of oversee the houses and make sure that everything that the state needs gets done for these individuals, as far as like incident reporting, the billing data, all of those types of pieces that we need in place. I also, like I said, I have a director of employment. She is my only employee currently in that department, but we are looking to expand it. And then I have a case management department. I have a case manager, and I have a case management supervisor, and I have 2 case managers under her.
All right. Now, you mentioned 60. You had 60 in the other.
Yeah.
Are some of those volunteer positions, or they're all paid?
They're all
Okay,
paid.
all right.
It's very difficult to do volunteer positions in our system with the regulations and whatnot. If we have volunteers, they usually help out around things like Cupid's Chase, our annual fundraiser, or kind of do some help administratively at the office.
Okay.
As far as working with the folks, there are so many checks and state clearances that are needed. We tended to just reserve that for employees.
Right. Right, and I guess that helps with consistency, and
it sure
you don't
does.
have the turnover and all that comes with that. Okay.
Sure.
What about some? You mentioned earlier about the financial aspects, and you would teach them about finances. Do you all also help them with maybe set up bank accounts or any of that kind of stuff? So that's something that you do?
It is. We have individuals who have their own bank accounts, who are their own guardians. That's what comes into play in the bank account situation, is whether the individual is their own guardian or whether they have a guardian. And if the individual has a guardian, obviously the things like bank accounts and whatnot are set up through that person. But yeah, we have plenty of people that we are what's called the rep payee for. So we receive the money from the guardian, and we keep meticulous records of how we are doling it out for that person. We also have several folks who are their own guardian, and that have their own accounts, and kind of bring in the checkbook and say, "Hey, help me out with this." Right.
So I can see that in and of itself would be very tedious, kind of a tedious, but also you have to make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed as well. So what about any educational opportunities that might be available? What do y'all do maybe if somebody wants to further their education, maybe get a GED or maybe even going to college or whatever the case may be? How do y'all handle those situations?
Well, we have worked with WKCTC here, and we have had a couple of our folks participating in classes, different classes, cooking classes, those types of things. Most of our folks have completed high school in a special education program, so it's not so much the GED that they are looking for. It's more geared towards their specific interests that they have found as an adult, i.e. cooking. Right.
Okay. All right. I was looking at your website, Community Options Incorporated website, and of course I noticed that the main office is out of New Jersey, and I know like you said before, you've got a lot of states that now, I mean, it's really grown. You're in a lot of states. You're expanding here in Kentucky, and I'd be honest with you, I was quite amazed at the number of services that are offered. And I guess I want to look at the bigger picture, if you can. What are some of the? I know that, for example, and you may not offer these locally,
right.
But I know the bigger organization has some things like Red Ribbon Academy, the STEP program, which is a school of employment. Real life services and things like that. I guess my point is that you all are a part of a big organized operation.
And the thing here is, what we're trying to do is, wherever we see a need for individuals with disabilities, we're trying to put something in place to help meet that need. That's kind of how the Red Ribbon Academy started. And what the Red Ribbon Academy is it's a brick and mortar day program for individuals that have significant medical disabilities who maybe have not been able to go to other day programs because of those disabilities. And we have received several accolades for that program, for the job that we do with supporting those individuals on a unique one-to-one basis. So that is a huge piece of our New Jersey operation. The STEP program is also something that's really great, and my plan is to have that up and running here within the next year or so. But the STEP program is kind of an interaction between school and our employment department, whereby we help folks with disabilities get a jump on the employment market and kind of get a start on helping them with those vocational goals.
Do you have employers from this area come to you sometimes specifically and ask for, do you have somebody that I could use in this area? This is what I need, that kind of thing?
We haven't seen that yet, but the employers that we've reached out to, we've probably reached out to over 50.
Right.
They have been supportive
Right.
with regard to what our mission is and
Right.
helping people get employed.
Right.
So we have working relationships with several different businesses currently. TJ Maxx has been wonderful for us. Obviously, McDonald's has been very good to us. But it's really just kind of about letting that employer know, hey, these folks are out there.
Right.
They have great skills, and they need a job.
Right.
And there are benefits on the tax side to employing them.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously a great service. Do you ever run across a situation? I know you're networked in with with several other states, and,
Sure.
and do you have a situation where perhaps your office would fit the needs of a person, say from another state like Arkansas or something, and then they might come and transfer in or something to the Paducah?
So-
do y'all have those?
Across states, it would be difficult because each state has what's called their own waiver program.
Right.
And what the waiver program is intended to do is to keep folks out of the institutions.
Okay.
So services are provided in the community as opposed to the services that person would have received in the institution. So we can do that probably best between ourselves and Bowling Green because we are under the same
Right,
Kentucky
right,
waivers.
right.
The thing is, if someone would come from, say, Pennsylvania, they would have to go to the end of the Kentucky waiting list for services, which would be detrimental. They would have a gap in their services until Kentucky picked them up.
Right. I know that you're a nonprofit organization. How do you get your money? I guess.
Yeah, sure. So the money is a split between federal funds and state funds. Okay, we fall under Title 19 waivers.
Okay.
In Kentucky, those are called the Supports for Community Living waiver and the Michelle P. waiver. And what the waiver is designed to do is to keep folks out of institutions.
Right.
They were designed in response to some of the exposés that were done in the 70s showing the terrible conditions in the institutions. And that's kind of those conditions and those videos that show those conditions of how inhumanely people were treated. That was the idea behind why we need a change.
Right,
Why
sure.
these people deserve to be in the community and have the same access as you and I have. So the money is a federal-state split. The state is our oversight. They come in as often as they see fit to kind of certify us to provide the different services.
Right.
We have currently the longest certification that's possible with the state, which is 1 year, and great relationship with the state. I used to work for that state department, so I'm very familiar with the
Now,
regulations.
which department is it?
It's through CHFS.
Okay.
And it's actually called BHDDID, so Behavioral Health, Developmental, and Intellectual Disabilities.
Okay. All right. Okay. If we could, and maybe there's some statistics that you have as far as success rate, and maybe you have some that's part of your national organization.
Sure.
Is there a percentage that you say, okay, we get out of the institution and they become pretty much self-sufficient with maybe some help here and there?
Sure.
Do you have some statistics about that?
Not exactly statistics because each situation is so individualized, but I would say success stories in regards to that situation are just numerous. The folks that we support in Benton came out of an institution here locally called Outwood, and they had lived there for large portions of their lives. So to me, the success there is to see these folks be able to do things like go out for pizza, or decide what time to take a shower. Those types of things were things that did not happen very frequently in an institutionalized setting. But like I said, the goal for us is to have these folks live the same life as you or I, and the same kind of choices as you or I have. One success story I talk about without getting into specifics and violating her privacy is I have an individual who was living in a staffed residence, which is the 3-person homes we discussed. She decided that she wanted to change some things in her life. So she went over and began to do the adult foster care model. And so we moved her in with a older lady. They are close in age. They've become very close. It's become a very good family situation. And that living situation for her is just so enriching and so fulfilling to help her do the things that guide a person through life. Now, this person also has recently gotten a job. This is someone that never before was employed, now has a job and is living in a situation that they find much, much more agreeable, and they have a job to kind of bring in an income and feel better about themselves. So we see those success stories. We try not to keep data on it specifically, but just about every person in my program I could tell you success stories about.
All right. Do you have or do you have an age group that's most typical of the people that you might serve?
I do. Generally, the waivers that pay for the services kick in when a person is over the age of 21. There are exceptions to that, but in general, it's over the age of 21. And we will serve a person all the way through their life until they need nursing level of care. That's something that obviously that's a nursing home requirement. We can't help those folks anymore.
Well, there's probably a lot of people that first off, the whole concept's admirable. I think it's great. If we have viewers out there that may think, oh, this is wonderful, is there anything I can do to help you all? If you don't mind, take a moment or two and explain what our viewers, if there's any out there that might be willing to help.
Absolutely. So we have a website, comop.org. That is our national website, but it links to each of the individual offices. So you could go on there and donate. You can go on there, find out information about the local office. Our telephone number is 270-444-9470. You can always give a ring and get in touch with us if you're interested in doing some volunteering around either our annual fundraiser or just in general. We could always use some volunteers doing different things, helping out around the office, whatever the case may be.
All right. And do you have a Facebook page?
We do. It's Community Options, and that's the national site. If you go on, it will link to the local sites. So if you go on and like the Community Options page.
And we're getting relatively close to the end. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you think our viewers should know about?
Sure. So I want to talk a little bit about our annual fundraiser. We just completed it this past weekend. It's called Cupid's Chase. And what we do is a 5K. And the goal, while it is a fundraiser, the main goal is to raise awareness about community options and what we do. So this past year, we had approximately 90 runners. AJ Martin from the radio personality, he's our DJ, and he does a wonderful job with that. We obviously accept donations from businesses. This year, Remax, Baptist Health, and Kiwanis of Paducah sponsored us. So that's just kind of a great opportunity to get the word out about us and kind of get people talking about the good work that my staff do.
Right. You said you had about 90 runners. About what percentage of of your incoming funds would be donations, for example?
It's very low. It's probably 1 to 2%. Most of our money is the guaranteed federal and state funding that comes through Medicaid.
Well, Mr. Nolan, I really appreciate you being here. I think it's a great thing that you all are doing. It's wonderful. And I want to thank our viewers for joining in with us today. And on the behalf of the Paducah Human Rights Commission, have a great day, and we'll see you soon.